Bears everywhere. We're seeing them in trees, on the streets, unfortunately, alongside them, the streets as well, because one bear, as you might remember, this week was killed while trying to cross I-4. Well, now drivers are being encouraged. You got to be on the lookout. We're joined this morning by Mike Orlando and Chad Weber of Florida Fish and Wildlife and Conservation. Great to have you, gentlemen.
Hi.
Great to see you, Chad. Thanks for being here. So it always is sad. It makes us sad when we see these stories. This is the last thing we want to happen to the bears. Why are we seeing so many more of them right now?
Well, it is breeding season currently, and the younger bears are dispersing from mom, trying to find their own habitat and breeding areas, and they're also avoiding the big males. So they're trying to make their way through the habitats that are available, and sometimes there are cities in the middle of those, so they have to cross through.
And we are growing like crazy, and unfortunate that does go into their habitat, so that makes it more challenging for them. Is that right, Chad?
Absolutely, and with people leaving attractants out at their homes, so that'll create bears coming into areas that we don't normally see them in, subdivisions and things like that.
Right, and you talk about attractants. We're talking about things like what? Like dog food left out and
Pet
trash
food,
and
garbage, your grill if you used it and cooked greasy things on it.
Yeah.
So we ask people to secure those in your garage or in a shed. That way it kind of discourages the bear from trying to get it.
One of the things you and I were talking about in the commercial break, which I thought was interesting, is that when we talk about a bear at I-4 and John Young Parkway, we think, well, that's kind of a strange place for a bear to be. But you were talking about how they sort of migrate, right?
Yeah, so as these bears are dispersing and trying to find their own home range, they'll find travel corridors like power lines and train tracks, move down from populated bear areas, like right down into middle of downtown Orlando. And then when the sun comes up, there's lots of traffic and people moving around. They find themselves in a pretty bad situation. Normally those bears, given a day or so, will actually find their way through the city and go right on the other side and find their own home ranges. Unfortunately, like the one the other day, or the two actually, they didn't make it across I-4, and that's a really unfortunate thing.
Yeah, it is sad to see that. Chad, what do you want people to know if they should have a bear encounter? What kind of information is important?
Well, if they have a bear encounter, if it's in their yard or near their home, they can always contact FWC at 888-404-3922, and stay away from it. Don't chase it, trying to take photos. We understand people want to see these animals, but do it from a safe distance. Don't chase after them or anything like that.
Right.
That could result in a citation from us, and leaving bear attractants out as well. So just do it from a safe distance, and if it's becoming an issue, to call us.
And we have had incidents, but usually it's when somebody's out walking their dog. Is that when you guys find that the bear is like, okay, there's something about that walking the dog thing? Yeah.
Generally, dogs and bears don't get along,
yeah.
but it's really important for people not to intentionally feed bears. I mean, we cannot stress that enough. We know that bears are cute and we love them.
But they're not cuddly.
But they're not cuddly. You know, if you're intentionally feeding a bear, then it's more likely to approach people, and that's where we actually get those situations where you're walking your dog, bear walks up, wants to get near you, and unfortunately, sometimes bad things happen.
Well, Mike and Chad, we certainly appreciate you both being here this morning. Again, be bear aware, so important, especially this time of year. And